still possessing the key. Passphrase, if you recall correctly, it is a line on, or a
Challenge.
word, yeah, challenge is the word, correct. You open up the door and enter into the crypt of the guard. It looks like it's been untouched since you left, and you move to the left to the door with a strange key slot. Okay, then what do you do?
Shadow would check it for traps.
Certainly. No need to roll any dice. It definitely is not trapped.
Typhon, you still have that key?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Yes, he hands the key over.
Aramil inserts the key.
You guys place the key in the hole, and you would see that once it does so, the gold starts to melt away and kind of turn into kind of a bright light. As it does so, you see that the door does similarly, kind of glows bright, and when the light kind of dissipates from your vision, it clears away, and there is no longer a door. It looks like there's a hallway that leads into a brightly lit chamber. Hold on a
Shadow
second.
Typhon, yeah. Sword and shield proceeds forward slowly.
Shadow would probably lead and check the hallway for traps.
Hmm?
Okay, so no traps. You guys cautiously move into the chamber.
Is it just like bare stone, or is there any?
I'll show you what it looks like.
Oh, I gotcha.
Let's see, air mill, and what Typhon.
Oh, there's a sword.
What you see before you is a strange set of patterning on the floor. It looks like a statue about 10 feet tall of an elvish male with hands outspread and angel wings on his back. Sitting before him, set on the dais, or kind of the dais built maybe around it, you're not sure, is a stone. Set in the stone is a beautiful looking elvish longsword. It is impaled about 3/4 of the way of the blade down into the stone. It appears that there is a ring of candles that are kind of lined around it in some sort of kind of circle of like crescent moons that kind of are patterned into the stone. Looks like they might be drawn with chalk.
I walk to the edge of the circle. I don't disturb anything, and I cast a divine sense.
The exact opposite of evil is what glows. The whole thing seems to be brightly glowing with good. The sword itself seems to kind of trigger a sense of almost celestial-like glowing.
Typhon smiles, and a tear of joy rolls down his cheek.
Just what I've always wanted.
And all right. So from what we know, okay, so it would seem that Arundel indeed was good. Okay.
There seems to be nothing else, though, of value in the room other than the sword, correct?
Correct.
Um.
Go ahead and make
well,
if you're doing an investigation check, go ahead and roll an investigation check.
Who, me?
I'm talking to Aramil.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, my computer's not working.
It's okay. Got an 18.
Okay. So you go to the back behind, and it looks like there's kind of like you can kind of see there's like a set in the wall behind, like directly behind the statue. Do you see what I'm talking about? Like a 5x5, like squares kind of jutted out from the wall.
Yeah.
On the sides of that, both sides of that, you find that there are a series of kind of just etchings. They don't look like writing, they look more like pictographs. They kind of seem to be detailing a story where it looks like from what you can tell, drawings of elves, because they seem to be drawn with pointy ears, are engaging against a dragon, and it looks like a winged angel is kind of flying up to one dragon on one side of the thing. In the middle, it looks like there's a battle between those two, kind of like right behind the statue of it, and on the right side of the statue, or of the wall rather, is the end of the story, and it looks like the dragon has like devoured or is biting down on the elf with wings. So it looks like he sacrificed himself so that the others could escape. The thing that's important here is all throughout the pictograph, kind of at high points of the story, or to kind of like accentuate certain aspects, are gemstones that are kind of set in the stone. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it looks like these stones could be easily removed, but with your investigation check, you realize that one on the right side appears to be a sapphire blue, whereas all the other ones were garnets. And you're pretty sure that it probably can't be removed, but you think that if you push it down, it would depress like a button.
I make note of that. What a selfless act. Typical elf. I say to the group, I do not push it yet.
Okay. At this stage, Shadow and Farron are pretty much just staying in the back, so they're not going to be doing anything. But because this is a short session that I thought I could just run really quick, I'm just guaranteeing to you that there are no traps or anything that will kill you, except for one thing. But that's kind of a choice you'll be making, not so much a thing that'll catch you off guard.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask the group because I want to know what that sword is, but I also don't exactly want
Again,
like.
don't expect any like interpretations or anything from Farron or Shadow. Just for sanity's sake, they're just getting their cut of the wealth, if there is any. Which you can pop those garnets out. There's about 10 of them that you can pop out, and they're each worth about 25 gold pieces, or sorry, 50 gold pieces apiece.
I will pop all those out.
Yep, and the sapphire, like I said, doesn't look like it can be removed, but if you depress it, it'd probably open.
So am I familiar with what kind of culture this would be, or
It's elvish.
I guess okay. I'm not sure what kind of honorifics or anything there would be, but I'm not going to draw that sword until I can do something to honor the person who wielded it.
Roll a religion check.
Where are you?
So
Man.
you wouldn't think that there wouldn't be anything wrong with the way it's being presented, because what you're seeing here, it looks like the statue's giving it away as a gift to whoever can draw it.
All right, then. Yeah, Typhon calls the Aramel. He says, "Aramel," and he kind of gestures to the sword, and he's like, "Do you mind?"
Give it a go. It's a shame to be here wasted. In
Okay.
my gruff voice that I didn't do.
You step into the sword, and you reach down to grab the hilt. Oh wow, that's it. Okay, hold on.
Andy's typing back, by the way.
Okay, cool. Tell him just to get on Discord if you can. You reach down, you grab the hilt of the sword. The second your hand takes place with the sword, the world around you kind of just dissipates away. The only things that you can see, everything else being kind of foggy, ethereally foggy, are the statue, the ring around you, and the sword before you. And you hear a voice. Do you speak Elvish?
I do not.
Okay, you hear a voice that seems to kind of tongue out words. You can hear that there's hundreds of voices that are the same voice, kind of speaking in unison, but one seems to kind of be one that you can hear. And your native tongue would be Infernal, correct? You were born, that was the language you were probably taught when you were young?
Maybe.
Whatever tongue you think would be the first tongue that you learned, the tongue that you would have been raised on, is the tongue that you hear the words in.
Probably just be common then. But
Okay.
you could, for flavor or style points, you could do it in
common's
Infernal
fine.
or Celestial.
Whatever would have been your initial tongue.
Yeah.
And it basically says, if you can draw me, you can keep me, and you must swear an oath to me that you will fight the evil in the darkest of places.
That is exactly what Typhon wants to do.
If that's the case, you place both hands on the sword, and we're going to begin a encounter. you and I. During that first round, at the very beginning of that round, you take 5 points of radiant damage. This damage cannot be resisted, reduced, in any way. You take 5 points. Now it comes to your action. You have two choices. You can draw the sword, continue to draw the sword, or you can relinquish your attempt to draw the sword.
I'm going to draw the sword.
During the second round, the next 6 seconds, you take 5 points of radiant damage. And during that point of the turn, your action can be to either draw the sword or to relinquish your attempt to draw the sword.
So I take 5 more points of radiant damage?
Correct. For the next 6 seconds, yeah, you're still holding on to it. It seems that the sword is testing your ability by damaging you while you hold it.
So I take 10 points radiant damage.
So far 10, yeah. And you're attempting to draw the sword still?
Yeah, so do I make athletics?
No, there's no rolls from you. During the third turn, you take 5 points of radiant damage. During that turn, you can decide to keep trying to draw the sword, or you can relinquish your attempt to draw the sword.
Big balls.
So we have a total of 15, and you've gone 3 rounds.
Yes, I'm going to keep trying to draw the sword.
During the fourth turn, you take 5 points of radiant damage, and you can decide whether to keep drawing the sword or relinquish your attempt to draw the sword.
Do I see? I don't see any of this happening, right?
No, yeah, you see it. Yeah, it looks like he's in pain as he's trying to draw the weapon, and the whole area that he is in, the circle, is glowing bright with radiant light. You also see Farron he has healing word, doesn't he? Yeah. He starts saying a healing word and throws forth a healing spell, but it seems to dissipate at the ring.
Can I touch him from here?
You move your hand in and touch him on the back, and then you do what? Are you casting a spell?
Yeah, I'll cast heal.
You feel like the healing energy of the spell is reverted back into your hands, and you heal yourself. You do not heal Typhon. Okay? This is round 4. So you've taken a total of 15 or 20.
Taking a total of 15.
You're taking 5 more at the beginning of round 4, and you can take your action to relinquish the sword or draw it. You would also notice that your friends have attempted to heal you and have been unable to do so.
So I take the 5, and then I have a choice.
Yes, you take the damage at the beginning of the round, and then your action is to decide whether you keep drawing or not.
What am I doing? I'm missing something here.
Or are you going to keep drawing?
I mean, I want to, but I also don't want to die.
Well, just go ahead and do it cinematically, because you want the sword very badly. As you attempt to draw during the 5th round, you take 5 more points of damage and start to slip into unconscious. As you do so, and your hands slip away from the weapon, you hear the sword speak to you again, and it says, "You are not worthy," and you fall to the ground. The light dims away, and everybody can see that Typhon's down. Farron quickly runs over with good berries and starts shoving them down Typhon's mouth.
And how many rounds did that take?
He was holding the sword for 5 rounds, and he took a total of 25 damage.
I can do this. Okay, pull me out of the circle.
We will do that.
Yeah, well, they don't have to. The circle's no longer a bad thing. It's no longer doing stuff. But go ahead, gain 10 hit points back as he shoves 10 good berries down your throat.
Alrighty. Now. Alrighty.
Airmill doesn't want to make an oath to him to fight evil.
Typhon, you look to the sword. It gleams. It looks like a perfect blade set in the stone. And the angel statue, just kind of polished white marble. Everything looks so beneficent, just so beautiful, so glorious here.
Alright.
What happened?
I'm not sure. It
almost killed you.
It told me I was not worthy. I tried to draw the sword, and the more I held on to it, the more it damaged me. But then he touches himself, uses 15 points of lay on hands.
Okay.
Fully healed. Typhon says, I think I can do this.
Perhaps it takes an elf.
Would you be willing to try?
Never bring a tiefling to an elf fight.
Hold on a second.
If I try, though, I may be bound to the sword.
Yeah, so you gain a bunch of temporary hit points. Do you walk in and step in and touch the sword?
Oh, I do?
So
I'm asking you, do
basically-
you?
Yeah. So
I know what it
creatures
does.
immune to-
It's
yeah.
fine. I get it. So, do you step into the sword and try and draw it like Typhon did?
Yeah.
The second you touch it, a question is asked of you, just like it was asked of Typhon. Do you wish to draw the sword or not?
The thing saying I have to be bound to him to make an oath to
And
fight evil.
make a binding oath to fight evil. Yep.
Sure. Yep.
The second you
Aramil
agree
crosses
to it and start placing the second hand on the sword to start to draw it, you feel the heroism that was inspired within you and the temporary hit points and like fluff that was added to you wash away from you. All magic seems to be cleansed from your body as the ring starts to glow and everything outside of it seems to fade away into gray. And you start to draw the sword. During the first round of the sword drawing, you take 5 points of radiant damage, which cannot be reduced or resisted or ignored. Your action is either continue to draw the sword or stop drawing the sword.
I will continue to draw the sword.
During the second turn at the beginning, you take 5 points of radiant damage for a total of 10. You should be now down to 18 hit points.
Correct.
And you get the choice again as your action. You can either continue drawing the sword or relinquish your attempt.
Continue.
Third turn, 5 points of radiant damage. You begin to kind of feel it welling around you. You're being purified in this light. Your action is continue or relinquish.
Continue again.
Turn 4, 5 points of radiant damage. Continue or relinquish.
I will continue.
Turn
And
5.
Say, and Dario, fill me with your might.
Oh, that was turn 5. So you've taken a total of 25, correct?
Correct.
All right, turn 6, you take 10 points of radiant damage. As you start to kind of like black out, you hear the sword say to you, "You are not worthy," and you fall to the ground as you did. Typhon, you see him drop just as you did. The light shines away from the statue again. He immediately reaches down and slams. Heals you for 11 hit points.
I am not worthy either.
Addo's got his arms crossed and it's kind of just like his back is like against the door and he's kind of looking at you guys as you do it. And he says down to Aramil, "Didn't you say something about a strange sapphire over there?"
No.
What? I thought you said something about that.
Nope, just said don't push it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe this sapphire has something to do with it.
You push the sapphire in, and when you do, the walls kind of fall away. But when they fall away, they don't give you some kind of super cool idea of what you're supposed to do next. Instead, they kind of descend down into a 5-foot deep pit, and at the bottom of that pit, there's a skeleton that seems to be bound in kind of a set of chain armor, and it's holding a shield on one arm.
I examine it. Does it look like an elven skeleton?
Yep, sure does.
We have found the final resting place of Captain Dario.
Elrindel.
Thank you. Typhon, do you have any guidance on this?
Typhon steps into the hole and uses divine sense.
Yeah, nothing on the statue. Again, the sword kind of, even though you're not looking directly at it, still kind of like glows and kind of forces you to turn back at it or possibly shield your eyes from its bright aura.
No.
Is the sapphire?
Ugh, I want that super fucking good sword.
Sapphire's gone.
I want it. I want to be good enough for that sword.
So you've got a shield and a set of chain armor. It looks like fine elven chain, and the shield looks like it has a strange patterning on its center that kind of has like an eye shape to it.
Oh yes, I need that shield. I know exactly what it is. It's gonna be good. Yeah, Typhon hands the chainmail to Aramel.
Okay,
And he holds up the shield and starts inspecting it.
You pull the chainmail up, the bones kind of dropping out of it, and hand it up, and then you take the shield and start inspecting it. Great. Are you guys going to do anything else with the sword?
Except take note of its location and come back when I'm level 10, I guess.
Try it with the shield. Maybe it has some type of special power to limit the damage that you're taking.
I'll go ahead and spare you guys a lot of time. You guys play with the sword a bit and waste all of your healing spells, and learn that you guys are not worthy. That's literally the thing that you hear the most, and can kind of hear it still kind of echoing in your head. Do you exit the place?
Yeah.
When all four of you exit the place, immediately behind you a bright light flares. You turn to see what happens. The door reshapes, and it spits out the golden object.
So is the golden object intact?
The golden key, correct.
Okay, so we can come back at a later date.
And it's sealed behind you. Okay, you guys leave and head back to town. And you already rolled the random encounters, so that's perfectly fine. You guys make it back to town, no problem.
So
Daffodil Hill seems to, and also the writing that you would have read, Typhon, you would have learned the name of the sword is Dias Alrindel.
Okay, well, I know what I'm researching next.
You already researched Captain Elrindel. You wouldn't know anything about this sword, but your assumption is that it is a soul sword, a sword that bounds a person's soul to it, or some form of it. Since you were hearing communications come from,
it's a sentient weapon.
It might be a sentient weapon. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream. But that's exactly the equivalent of it. You guys recovered after short identification process. Go ahead and just drop off a couple of the garnets for the identification of that from Big Bang. Just simple process. The chainmail is a suit of elven chain shirt. So it's light armor, but it's super cool. And then might be good for the tabaxi. Might be good for the ranger, either or. And then the shield is indeed a sentinel shield.